It's a podcast. It's a podcast. It's a podcast.
All right, folks, we are back. Welcome back to the Fantasy and Other Stuff podcast. I'm your host, Jonah, and I'm looking fly today. If you're not watching the video, I look swaggy today. I look, may I even say, I kind of look crisp and clean. I kind of look like I've got some Riz. Okay, ignore that last one. I definitely don't have that. But I'm wearing like this blue Hawaiian shirt and this nice undershirt. You can't see my shorts. I'm gonna lift up my leg. Okay, no, it's gonna stand up. Yeah, I've got like these shorts. Okay, it's not that great of an outfit, but it's a festive outfit. Festive? Because I'm going to a festival. That's right, folks. I'm going to an EDM festival. I've never been to one of those before. I honestly have no idea what to expect. I don't really know very many of the artists either. I only know like the big names that are going to be here because it's EDC Thailand, and I know like 4 or 5 of the artists that are coming, and the rest of them are complete mysteries to me, which will be fun. Maybe I'll find some new music. Maybe I'll get to adventure a little bit and just find things kind of randomly, which is part of the fun to me. But I am going alone, and I don't really know what this experience is going to be like. I have no idea what's about to happen, but I think it'll be a good time. I hope it'll be a good time. I did pay, quite a bit of money to go to this, and it would suck if it wasn't fun. So I'm looking fly. I'm in a good mood. I have to leave in like 30 minutes. I scheduled a car to come get me. That sounds pretty fancy, right? It sounds like I'm rich. Look at me, Moneybags McGee over here. It was like $5. It wasn't that much money. But $5 goes a lot further in Thailand than it does in the US. So not that bad. A pretty good deal. So I'm excited for that. I'm recording this literally just before I'm going to go. And I'll report back next week to tell you what it was like. So right now, if I'm explaining again, I'm on an island in Thailand. I'm on Phuket. I actually used to live here for a couple of months back in 2021 because COVID was going on and I was teaching online and I was just like living on the island here. It's really cool to be back. Very nostalgic. I was very happy just seeing the island geography. That's not the right word. Topography. Just the beautiful, beautiful island stuff. I don't know why I had to use big words for that, beaches, giant rolling hills with trees on them and just great sunsets. It's an island. It's an island and it's fantastic. And that's where I'm at right now. Having a great time. I love islands. I feel like that's not much of a hot take. I think pretty much everyone would agree with that. Islands are great. I've been eating lots of food, just walking around, having a good time, and I've been reading ever since I got here, The Hunger of the Gods by John Gwynne. I'm enjoying it. I haven't gotten very far. I'm like 100 pages in. I've only been reading for like 2 days now. It starts off so fast. That book, the whole series. So I read the first book a couple months ago. And it just picks up literally seconds after the first book ends, and it just does not slow down at all. Constantly something happening in that book, and I like it. Like it's good pacing because everything that's happening is interesting, and it's constant like action and just characters making decisions that are impactful to the story. And to start your book off with such high octane and such high stakes stuff happening is a bold move. But I appreciate that John Gwynne's going for it, and it's working so far. I'm enjoying the book. I did enjoy the first book, as I said, and I've heard that this is better in like every regard, so I'm excited to see what happens. I'll probably be done with it in like the next week or so. It's a bit longer than the first one. It's like almost 700 pages. But before I started reading that, I finished The Grace of Kings by Ken Liu, and I enjoyed it. I had a great time with it. It didn't quite hit 5 stars for me. I think I put it at 4.5 stars. The reason it leaves half a star here for me, and it's something that I've seen a lot of people say, I know I'm not alone in this criticism, and for some people this like ruined the book for them, like they didn't enjoy the book, or the book just never worked for them. There's so much going on, and Ken Liu is covering such a long period of time, and so many people in such a long period of time, and he's doing things very fast, like he'll cover entire months in like a paragraph because he's just saying, oh, and then this event happened because of the decisions that these characters made. And since you're not really spending a lot of time zooming in on characters, I can see why some people would struggle to get invested. I was invested from the start because I think that the world is fascinating, and I think that the geopolitical structure of everything that's going on and how characters' individual actions shape that and change that, and the mini dramas that come with that, was brilliantly done. I looked it up. Apparently, Ken Liu started as a short story author, which makes a lot of sense. If you read The Grace of Kings, this is my best advice. Go in almost like looking for short stories within the grander story, because that's kind of what he's doing, as he's telling these stories about these individual characters that have an impact on the history of this world. And sometimes you only get like one chapter with a character, and then their part in the story is over, like they die or they get exiled or whatever the hell it is, you know. And those characters, to me, were some of the most impactful parts of the story, because what Ken Liu is doing is essentially telling a short story about that character and then kind of zooming back out and showing you how that specific story ended up impacting the wider the wider narrative and what's going on in the world. And I can see why that wouldn't work for some people, but once I understood what Ken Liu was doing, I was like, oh, this is actually kind of fire, and I was having a great time with it. And that's something I like to do as a reader, is if I'm not enjoying something, but especially if it's something that people say they love, and it's like one of their favorite things of all time, is like trying to figure out like why, and try and understand what the author is going for and what people are getting out of it. And The Grace of Kings is an example of that, where it started off, I thought it had a strong start, and then I was like, man, this is kind of weird. And then once I got what Ken Liu was doing, I was like, oh, this is actually really well written. And I ended up enjoying it way more. Great book. I thought it was fantastic. But again, it lost half a star for me because there was so much going on, and some of the emotional impact, I think, was lost for me at the end, because there were too many characters, and I didn't feel like I got to spend enough time with them individually to care about them enough. So some of the impact was lost. The main character, I guess, he's, I don't want to say anything in case of spoilers, but who I would consider to be the main character, I am definitely invested in him. His name's Cooney. Definitely invested in his story. It's because I got to actually spend time with him and see his growth and like get to be really intimate with his emotional journey through this story. A lot of the other characters, it's almost like you're missing entire portions of their arc. You see them in one place, and then they go through like whole events, and then you see them again, and it's like they're a completely different person, or like they've gone through something that you didn't even get to witness, you know? So again, I think it's worth pointing these things out because they are things that affected my reading of it, but I know lots of people who did not have this problem at all and who love the book and who think it's a 6 out of 5 star book for them. I thought it was great, not like chart breaking, but like great book. I had a great time with it. So that's my opinion on The Grace of Kings. And also I can see the flip side of people not enjoying it. So I get it. I think it's a divisive book for a reason, but worth checking out. That's my recommendation on it. Worth checking out at least. And if you get like, I don't know, a third of the way through and you're just like, I don't like this at all, might not be for you. That's fine. It's okay. Not every book has to be for everybody. But I've been told that the second book in that series is actually like way better. So I'm excited for that. I am going to finish this series, but I've been told that like the people who weren't necessarily huge fans of the first book ended up loving the second book. So I am in for that ride. I was going to read it anyway, but knowing that makes me more optimistic. So that's what I've been reading. Lots of good reading this year so far. The first 2 books were both 4.5 stars. I haven't had a true 5 stars yet. Maybe The Hunger of the Gods will be the first true 5 stars. Maybe it won't. I don't know. Last year, I believe, I can't remember what I had already read a 5-star book this time last year. This time last year, I had just read the 5th season. It's kind of weird thinking that it's been a year since I read that. Does anybody else have this weird, like, a disconnect from how much time has actually passed and when you remember reading something? I don't know if that's just me, but, like, for instance, it was like 2 years ago now. I was reading, I believe in 2022 or 2023, around this time, I want to say I was reading Red Rising for the first time. There's no fucking way, dude. There's no way it's been 2 years since I read that book. Does anybody else, do you know what I mean? Like, I think it was 3 years ago now, I was reading, like, Mistborn for the first time. And that, weirdly, it feels like it was actually, like, longer. Like, it feels like it was further back. But it was 3 years ago. It's so strange. It's so strange. I think part of it for me is that I have, like, an extremely good memory with books. So, like, I can remember exact plot details from books I read, like, 5 years ago. So they don't feel like that old to me, you know? And then when I sit and remember, like, oh, this month, 5 years ago, I was reading X, Y, or Z, I'm like, there's no way that much time has passed. But it has. It absolutely has. And so even just thinking back a year ago, I had just finished Empire of Silence at the very beginning of the year, which, holy shit, that feels weird that it's been a year since I read that. I had read the 5th season. I was reading, I believe, Legends and Lattes and Bookshops and Bone Dust. It's been a year since then? What? What were you reading? I would like to know in the comments what you guys were reading a year, if you remember what you were reading a year ago. Because I didn't even have to look that up. I just remember what I was reading a year ago. And I'm wondering if anybody else can do that, or if that's like a special skill of mine. I can tell you a book from every month last year, off the top of my head. I can remember exactly what month I read. Dude, isn't that fucking freaky? Is that autism? It might be. It might be mild. Because I can't think, dude. You know what's really freaky? When I was a kid, I used to have the chapter names of the Harry Potter books memorized. So when I would pick up, because I would just reread them over and over. So I read them the first time, and then I immediately went back to the first book and just read the entire series again. And I did that over and over and over for years, for probably like, I want to say like 5 years of my life. I would just start them over and over and over. And I'm not even fucking with you. I had the chapter titles memorized. Like I could list them off before I even opened the book. I could almost tell you exactly in order the names of the chapters. What the hell is that? I can't do that anymore. Absolutely not. But I could. I used to be able to, and I could literally look at a chapter title and be like, I know exactly what's gonna happen. Like I could tell you, dude. What? I don't think I could do that now if I tried. Like even if I put forth the effort to do that with another series, I don't think I would be able to. But I also haven't hyper fixated on anything like I did on Harry Potter ever in my life, and I don't think I ever will again. Sucks that J.K. Rowling is such an awful person, because man, that series it was a huge part of my childhood. So that's a weird thing about me that I used to be able to do. I'm wondering if anybody else was a Harry Potter kid. Was anybody else like that level of obsessed with it? I feel like there has to be other people, considering how popular it is. There has to be other people that were like on that level of obsessed, you know? Man, God, Harry Potter, dude. What a ride. I would love to read those books again. I'm missing one of them. I still have my childhood books, which I still remember getting those. I think I got them for my birthday or for Christmas or something. And I would love to do a reread, but I'm equal parts. I don't really want to read them because I just, it's so hard for me to disconnect them from J.K. Rowling. And I'm really worried that if I did, I would like not like them anymore, and it would taint this like really special part of my upbringing that was extremely influential on me. Like I would not be a reader today if it wasn't for Harry Potter. I wouldn't be the person I am today if it wasn't for Harry Potter, because it influenced me massively, not just as a reader or just as like a developing mind who's intaking art or whatever. But like I really wanted to be like Harry. Like I wanted to be this person who can save the day. And obviously that's not something that makes me special. I think all kids kind of go through that, but he was like my hero growing up. He was the fictional character that I latched on to. I think I went as Harry Potter like several times for Halloween. So yeah, I was one of those kids. It's fine. It's funny, now I wear glasses that kind of look like his, and so I used to teach English in Vietnam. I don't know if you don't know that by now, that's a fun fact about me. And when I would wear those glasses, my students would call me Harry Potter, which is kind of funny. And also, heartwarming memory from that time, we used to have break in class because they were 2-hour-long classes. It was like after-school classes. And there was a kid in one of my classes that during break, he brought in the Harry Potter books, and he would just go sit in the back corner, and then he would just read until break time was over. And I was only supposed to give them like 5 to 10 minutes. I would give them like 15 sometimes, because for one, I didn't know how to fill my lessons very well, but also because I would watch that kid and I'm like, I don't want to like interrupt. Like I was that kid. That was me. But isn't that so cool too? That like now, damn near 20 years later, a kid in a different country across the planet, in an age where so many other students, so many other kids that age are obsessed with iPads and they're watching Mr. Beast during their break time, and they're just, all they know is brain rot. Here's a kid who's reading Harry Potter in his free time, just like I did when I was a kid. I mean, that's just, I never thought I would encounter something like that. And that, to me, that was really special. That was a really cool, like, I got to talk to him about it a little bit. He wasn't the best at English. He was reading it in Vietnamese. But I would ask him, like, who's your favorite, like, character? And his favorite was Ron. And, I would mess around. He was like, I don't know, probably 8 years old. So like I would mess around with him, pretend I was using a wand or whatever. It was adorable. That kid was adorable. He was also very good at writing. He wasn't very good at speaking, but very good at writing. And it was just heartwarming to see a kid reading Harry Potter in Vietnam in 2024 or 2023. What the hell? So cool. Anyways, that's enough of that. Let's see. What else have I been? What have I been up to? What have I been doing? I'm sure you're all wondering, what has Jonah been doing? And that's why you're watching this, right? Oh, okay. So this is something I've wanted to talk about for a while, or like a few weeks now, I think, at this point. So I'm a big fan of Greek mythology. I think most kids that grew up with like Percy Jackson too, because I was also a Percy Jackson kid. We all kind of know a decent amount about Greek mythology, and we all know a decent amount about like the lore and the all the things that kind of shaped it, right? So I am a fan of the Odyssey. I've never actually read it, but I've seen several renditions of it. There's actually if you go on YouTube and you look up Epic the Musical, it's like a whole fan-made musical of the Odyssey. The music is amazing, and there's been a bunch of fan animators that have like gone over it and stuff. It's super cool. Anyways, that's unrelated to what I was about to talk. Well, I mean, it is related, but do recommend checking that out if you're into musicals at all, and if you like the Odyssey. It's fantastic, like genuinely fantastic. But I used to be a cinephile, right? I used to watch a lot of movies. I used to watch a movie like every other day. I think my highest number was in 2021. I watched like 180 movies that year. Fucking insane. But I used to be a huge film buff, so I still keep up with the film scene. I don't know how many of you know this, and this isn't like a deep cut knowledge thing. I'm sure plenty of you have seen this news, but I'm excited about it. Christopher Nolan's next movie is going to be an adaptation of the Odyssey. What? That's like I cannot think of a better director to do that, because he is the best director that I can think of at filming spectacle. But for any filmmaker to attempt the Odyssey is insane. I feel like this movie is going to be either one of the greatest movies ever made, or it's going to be a disaster. I mean, Christopher Nolan hasn't made any bad movies, so I feel like that's a very low chances of it happening. But if you know the Odyssey, you know, how much he's going to have to cover, and how little, this is the story. Okay, I don't want to like sit here and mansplain the Odyssey, because like I've never even read it before. But I do know that it is like the template for like the hero's journey, for like so many things that we see in literature nowadays. It is like the book, right? I've seen adaptations of it, but like they don't cover the entire thing, right? They're only doing like part of it. I'm wondering what Christopher Nolan's going to do, and I'm excited for it. I gotta say, I don't know who's going to play Odysseus, because if you've seen the cast, they have like Tom Holland, Robert Pattinson, Zendaya. I believe Matt Damon's going to be in the movie. There's been other people announced, and I'm wondering, is Tom Holland going to be Odysseus? Is Tom Holland going to be Odysseus? I can't see it. I can't see it. But I don't know who else he would be in that story. Is it gonna be R. Pats? Is it gonna be Robert Pattinson? I can actually kind of see that. He's like such a chameleon now with his roles. I could see him doing. I could see him doing it. I'm wondering. But if you had to choose someone who would you choose as Odysseus, right? Well, because there's different versions of him. There's like some renditions of him. He's like a middle-aged man, or he's like older. Some renditions of him. He's like a strapping young lad, right? Which is Tom Holland, I guess. Fuck. Listen, I like Tom Holland. I don't know, man. Him as Odysseus. They haven't announced who's playing who. And that's why I just saw that casting and I was like, is he going to be Odysseus? And then Zendaya is, what's her name? Clytemnestra? Is that her? Am I thinking of something else? That's her name, right? For his wife I don't know. Listen, I'm not saying it'd be bad, but I can't picture it in my head. So anyways, I'm excited for that. I think it's good. I personally think it'll be great, but this is, of the movies that he's made, this one has the highest potential to not be good because it's the Odyssey, and how do you actually adapt the Odyssey, right? So I'm very excited for that. I haven't really been doing much else. So listen. This isn't getting enough hype. I mean, I'm not I'm not in anime spaces anymore online because I think they're very toxic. But the anime Sakamoto Days on Netflix, you should all check it out. I'm a big fan of the manga, and I've been waiting for this. I didn't even realize the episodes had come out because Netflix didn't promote them to me at all. Also, I've been traveling, so I just haven't been focusing on watching TV or anything. Went and watched the first couple episodes. They're great. It's not like God-level animation like some of the stuff on TV nowadays, but it's really good. If you haven't watched Sakamoto Days, or if you haven't read it, now is the time. It's going to be coming out weekly, and I highly recommend. It's about like a retired hitman. Essentially, what if John Wick retired, got fat, and had a child? Like that's like the whole thing. And now he's like super wholesome, and the only thing he cares about is his family. That's essentially Sakamoto Days, and like he's forced to come out of retirement because that's the plot of like everything that's like that, right? Highly recommend. Sakamoto Days should be talked about more, and I feel like it's not being talked about very much. Unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to wrap things up there because I keep getting notifications on my phone that the car that's picking me up to go to this festival is on the way. I don't know why. I told them to pick me up in like 15 minutes and they're on the way now. It's fine. It's fine. They can wait for me, right? I also feel like I don't have very much else to say right now, though. I just wanted to give you guys this update, let you know what's going on. I will be in a different location, I think, for the next episode again. No, I'll still be here for the next episode, and then I don't know what's going to happen after that. My travels might be ending soon, or I might be going to a new location. We're going to see how I feel. And I'm really nervous about TikTok going away, potentially, so I'm kind of trying to just vibe right now and not think too much about it, because there's nothing I can do. I certainly don't control the U.S. government, although if I did, you know what I would do? You know what I would do if I was in charge of the U.S. government? First law that I'm signing into action, the very first thing I'm doing, I walk into the Oval Office, I sit down, I pick up the phone, I say, Jarvis, because Jarvis is part of the government now, because I became president. Say, Jarvis, download Fortnite onto every single person's iPhone. And then I hang up the phone, and then everyone has Fortnite on their iPhone. I do the reverse of a TikTok ban. I do a Fortnite enforcement. You have to have it. If you don't, you pay your taxes by buying the V-Bucks. Listen, I think the kids would love it. I would tax them too. Children have to pay taxes in my version of the United States. They're the ones paying for healthcare. They don't need that shit. But I do. No, I don't need it right now. I'm fine. I'm healthy. I'm a young, healthy stallion. I need to go. Oh my God. I keep getting more messages, but I can't shut up. Okay. All right. I'll see you in the next time. I don't know exactly what my next podcast episode is going to be about, but you'll see when it comes out. And until next time, folks, I hope you're happy and healthy. I hope you're doing well. And I'll see you then. Bye-bye.